Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Fixing Diablo 2. So again, I always want to emphasize this. I don't think Diablo 2 is broken, but there are some skills in the game which really don't get much use, and I'd like to see them get some use. And, well, three of those specific skills that really need a little bit of love are the Sorceress skills known as Frozen Armor, Shiver Armor, and Chilling Armor. And you might be asking, well, what's wrong with Frozen Armor? What is wrong with Shiver Armor? And what is wrong with Chilling Armor? Well, the fact of the matter is that all three of these skills have a ridiculous setup that requires them to be synergized with the other skills. It's got to be the weirdest thing. Because honestly, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense why they're set up this way. So you basically have to build one to build the other, and then you have to build another one to build the other one. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In my personal opinion, I don't think that these three skills should be tied together at all. In fact, one of the things that I would change right off the bat is I would remove the linkages between these skills, and I would set them up very similarly to the way that the Paladin has his skills set up. So if you take a look at the Paladin, using another character as an analog, we would set up the three skills very similarly to the way that the Paladin has his skills set up. So you notice here over on the right, we have three skills that are just by themselves. They're not linked to anything. You can put points in one or the other, any of these three, and they have absolutely no relation to any of the other abilities. So you can put 1 point in fire, 1 point in cold, 1 point in lightning. Right? I can put 1 point in cold and not put any in the others. This is important because the way that this works, and the reason why this is important, is because these skills are not synergized together. They have no linkages together, really. You do not require to get one to get the other. And in this same way that we currently have resist fire, resist lightning, and resist cold, I want to see the three shields separated so that they are no longer linked together. I think it is very important to remove these shields from being linked together. Just put them separate from each other. Okay, you can put 1 point in this one, 1 point in this one, 1 point in this one. It doesn't matter. You can maintain their level requirements. That's perfectly fine. So Frozen Armor can still be a base level skill at level 1. Shiver Armor can be a level 12 skill, and Chilling Armor can be a level 24 skill. Absolutely no problem. Leave it exactly as it is in that regard. Number two, they all have synergies, and for this reason I'm going to have to move myself over to the other side so that you guys can see the synergies. Otherwise, I will be in the way. So when you look at the skills, they have synergies like, for instance, Shiver Armor gives Frozen Armor freeze length. Shiver Armor gives Frozen Armor duration increase. Chilling Armor gives Frozen Armor freeze length duration. Chilling Armor gives it, 10 seconds, the duration increase, right? Same thing with Shiver Armor. Shiver Armor gets cold damage per level and 10 seconds per level, depending on the other skills for Frozen Armor or Chilling Armor. And then Chilling Armor itself also gets cold damage per level and seconds per level in its duration. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's going 20 points this, 20 points like who in their right mind would ever go 20, 20, 20? Who in their right mind would ever go 20, 20, 20 to get full bonus and full effects from any of these skills? That's a total of 20, 40, 60 points. That's like an entire character right there. 60 points is generally how much you need to set up a character. Anything past 60 points, you're getting into the more expensive builds. Or you're also getting into like the territory where you can barely even maintain it. But 60 points is a lot of freaking points. Now, granted, I don't think they ever really expect you to do this. And I think that's the thing that's probably the silliest, is I don't think they ever really expect you to do this, ever. Now, what are the differences between the three skills? This is also kind of very important to talk about. So let's talk about what are the differences between Frozen Armor, Shiver Armor, and Chilling Armor real quick, just so we can get an idea of what could make them more interesting skills in terms of, like, distinction. So Frozen Armor, main distinction is that it freezes targets. This is the main distinction for Frozen Armor. It is a very effective armor. Frozen Armor also does not dish out damage, so it does not deal damage. Chilling armor deals damage to ranged attackers. Shiver armor deals damage to melee attackers. Alright, this is kind of weird, and it's actually one of the distinctions that makes them kind of odd, in my opinion. These two abilities tend to be the least used, and there's a couple of reasons why, but it doesn't really matter. There's actually distinctions between these abilities, right? Well, let's talk about the distinctions for a second. So, chilling armor, very identifiably, if you go out into an area and you get shot at by a ranged monster, we need to find a ranged monster. Chilling armor will shoot a projectile back. Right? See? Shoots a projectile back. What is that projectile? Should be really obvious what that projectile is, right? That projectile is Ice Bolt. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is literally an Ice Bolt. So, logical reasoning would suggest that chilling armor's synergy should be Ice Bolt. Very simple. Extremely simple to do. Now chilling armor has a synergy that is not one of the other armors. Now Ice Bolt enhances chilling armor. Frozen armor is all about freezing the monster, right? Freeze length duration, right? The best skill in the game to be able to enhance the freeze length duration of frozen armor is Ice Blast. Ice Blast is the skill that has the longest freeze length duration out of all abilities within the game. So frozen armor should be synergized with Ice Blast. On top of this, we also have Shiver armor. Now, Shiver armor is a direct damage effect that has an extremely long cold length. My suggestion with this one is because it is a cold length and not specifically a ranged ability like chilling armor with Ice Bolt or freezing armor with a freezing effect like Ice Blast, this is about chill length, the maximum amount of chill length that you can possibly get. There's one ability in the game that has an equivalent chill length, and that is Frost Nova. Frost Nova, as you can see, has the exact identical 40-second chill length as Shiver armor. So, synergize with Frost Nova. So what would it exactly do? Well, it does the same exact thing that it would do right here. Just make it so that it increases the freeze length per level, and it increases the seconds per level. Exactly the same. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to have the same exact percentage. I'm not exactly sure how you might want to balance it out, but 20 points in Ice Bolt would get you essentially the same amount as putting 40 points into these two abilities. 20 points in Ice Blast here would get you the same amount as putting that into there. And the same thing with Frost Nova. If you put 20 points into that, it would get the chilling armor beefed up. Nobody does this anyway. So I think I want to emphasize this very strongly, is that nobody puts points into these synergies anyway. Okay? So actually giving people an option to actually get some of these synergy bonuses wouldn't be terrible. Having increased freeze length duration on frozen armor would be nice, but it's not end of the game. It doesn't like break things really. Having additional chill length on Shiver armor would be nice, but it doesn't exactly break things. The cold damage per level is definitely interesting, but even fully maxed out, you can see it only does 715, so it's not going to be the most amazing thing in the world anyway. And then chilling armor, which does the nice little ranged little spikes, also doesn't really have the most amazing cold damage either. As you can see, it does, 392 cold damage from an Ice Bolt, and this one does 857 from the same. It's actually better than unsynergized Ice Bolt, but if we threw in full points into Ice Bolt, which is beefed up by basically everything in this tree, you can see that Ice Bolt does 1,242 and still exceeds the damage that the chilling armor is capable of anyway. So it's still going to be better to just shoot the Ice Bolt than it is to let the chilling armor shoot the Ice Bolts at the target. And on top of that, you have to get hit for this to affect. You have to get hit for this to have an effect. So none of this really matters. Having the synergies be tied to the other armors was always stupid. Having the armors tied together, I think, was always stupid. They should just simply be alone in each category. So the frozen armor should be at the top by itself, the shiver armor should be at level 12 by itself, and the chilling armor should be here by itself. You could leave the linkages and still maintain this, but I would definitely remove the synergies and change them to the other skills so that people can actually get use out of the synergies that were created. Ice Vault would be tied to shiver armor, or sorry, chilling armor. Ice Blast would be tied to frozen armor, and Frost Nova would be tied to shiver armor because each one of those ties directly with those skills. It just makes sense. This actually does fire ice bolts, so increasing your ice bolt skill logically would also increase the ice bolts that come from chilling armor. This is set up as the biggest chilling effect that could ever possibly exist, and Frost Nova is the highest chill length duration that you can possibly get within the game. So it makes sense to tie these two together. And Frozen Armor is set up to freeze enemies that strike you, and Ice Blast is the best freezing effect that the Sorceress has. Single target, mind you. Glacial Spike is better for AoE, but it has less freeze length than Ice Blast under the same situation. As you can see, freeze length duration on Ice Blast goes up to 26.2 seconds, which is insane. And the freeze length duration on Glacial Spike, even fully capped out, is only 8.7 seconds, which is nowhere near as good as the Ice Blast. All in all, I think if you did these two changes, that would fix it. Change the synergies so that they're to actually something useful. And on top of that, I would say remove the linkages between them because they don't even really need to be tied together. They don't need the synergies for it to be each other. So changing the synergy requirements would actually make it so people might actually want to put points into the synergies for those skills. It also might encourage people to utilize chilling armor, which is all the way down at the bottom, versus another ability, depending on how their character is set up or what they're trying to do. Like if they're a Frost Nova and they are building the synergy for chilling armor anyway, they might actually use chilling armor. If they're, like a Ice Blast Sorceress and they have frozen armor, then like building Ice Blast is a requirement if you're going to build Glacial Spike or Blizzard. So maybe Blizzard Sorceresses would get more use out of frozen armor and so forth and so on. All in all, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have much more to say about these skills. The skills themselves are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They do what they're supposed to do. They increase your defense. They have a special effect, which is useful. And, they are useful themselves. It's just that nobody invests large numbers of points into these skills. Nobody invests into the synergies. The synergies are basically just wasted. They have absolutely no purpose. And so all we're really doing here is we're fixing the synergies, and we're making it so that people might actually want to invest points into those synergies. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watch my videos, even when we're just talking about the ice shields on the Sorceress. And as always, keep watching.